right, welcome to the podcast, Bob Smiley. You and I have been friends since
1974. Right?
that was before I was born, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, I followed around, I followed your mom around, and I just talked.
Exactly. Yes.
One day when you get out,
One
we're gonna
day
do
you
a
come
show
hang
together.
out. Come hang out with us. Yes. No, I worked at Arvest Bank, and the first event I ever put together was the Riley Armstrong Bob Smiley event that we did here in Bartlesville. That was the first event I ever
That was the first one
that I ever
you'd ever put together.
spearheaded. Yep, that I ever spearheaded and said, okay, we're going to be a part of this. Because if I remember, I think my band played with y'all. We played I think our band, which was called I think it was back in Caleb and Andrew days. I think we opened for you guys.
That's right. And we had never had a polka band open for us before, and it was so great. I didn't know that was your first time putting on an event.
Never.
Well, I mean, that showed. I just didn't know that it was.
It was literally but that experience brought about one of your bits.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the Bartlesville
ER.
So that's where that happened.
You were with me, bro. I picked.
Okay.
I pulled up. You were borderline throwing up in the parking lot at Walmart.
Yeah, I will. It was not borderline. Well, I was throwing up. Just not in the parking lot because I do have standards, and that was a nice Walmart,
It's gone downhill.
Take me to a Dollar General, then I'll hurl in the parking lot. But I was so sick. And so were you the one who took me to the hospital?
No. So this is how great of a host I was, because I took my lunch break from the bank, and I came to the parking lot, and you're like, Riley came out in his giant dreads and all the things that he had, and he was 6'9" or whatever, however tall that dude, ridiculous. And he's like, yeah, Bob's not feeling good, man. I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Because you and I were the guys that talked on the phone. You and I had been on the phone communicating with one another about this whole thing.
Yeah, because back then I was using a payphone to do everything, and Riley was too tall. He couldn't lean down that long to advance the show. So yeah, I remember.
So we worked together.
Contact.
You were you were the booking manager. You were the whole 9 yards back in that day. And so you said, we'll meet you in the Walmart parking lot. And so I met you at the Walmart parking lot, and I took you, we put you at a Super 8 motel. Golly, I'm so embarrassed.
That was my first time to get a tetanus shot. Yeah.
It was so awful, dude. I was like, I felt like what was funny is years later, I actually worked at that Super 8 as the night desk guy.
No way.
And dude, this is a comedy. We can do this. So I was an uneducated moron when I worked there. And the guy was named Mike Patel. Nice dude. Super great guy. It was coming close to Ramadan, and I was like, hey man, what are you guys doing for I'm just trying to break the ice and have conversation. Hey, what are you guys doing for Ramadan? He goes into this cussing fit, and he's like, you sorry sack of stuff.
Yeah,
I am Hindu, I am not a Muslim, and just lost his mind on me. And I was like, I'm sorry. He's like, you racist. I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, please don't fire me. But you
don't want to get fired from Super 8. That's a terrible resume.
It was pretty darn close that night, but he forgave me, thank goodness. Anyways, but that was where I literally was like, the ER is right behind the Super 8, and I left and went back to work because I was on my lunch break, and I went back to work, and I came back to pick you guys up to take you to the venue, and you were walking around the corner of the hotel, and I was like, "Hey, what'd you find out?" He goes, and you looked at me, you're like, "I just got back from the ER." You had that wild look in your eye, and you were just like, "I was like, bro, I'm so sorry. I should have warned you about the ER." He's like, "You should have warned me." Yeah, you should have warned me all kinds of things, and you were a little irritated with me. I was like, "Bro, I'm so sorry," and then we took you. Host that I am, I took you to Denny's next door.
Yeah.
And
So
Riley
that
lost his wallet.
what's that? Riley lost his wallet?
Yeah, it fell down in the thing, and we had to take the whole
Oh, that's right.
whatever that was, that bench. We had to take the bench out to get Riley's wallet back. So, but I'm sorry, that was, golly, what a heck of an opener of a podcast. This is ridiculous.
No, this is great because that Bartlesville, Oklahoma bit for years was my most requested bit of people wanting me to do that story at shows. And there was so much that happened that I didn't even put in the bit because I thought it would be too unbelievable
Like
for a stand-up bit. But they were remodeling or who knows? It looked like a bomb shelter that somebody had already bombed.
It's still that way.
So they didn't have they didn't have walls. They didn't have all four walls of rooms that they would see you in. So they brought me in and they set me down. Now it had three walls, so it had plenty of walls. But there was a doctor behind me treating somebody else in another room, but it was one big open, and they were doing construction. And the TV. The reason why I knew it was separate rooms is there was a TV hanging from the ceiling facing the other way into the other room, and it was playing the Addams Family movie. Like it had just come out, and it was so loud. And so the doctor comes in, and she's like, and I think I put this in the bit, but she was like, "Do you have a temperature?" And I was like, "Everybody has a temperature." Like I was still trying to be funny, like trying to, she literally, she goes, "I'm going to check your temperature." And instead of putting a thermometer in my mouth, she leans and puts her cheek on my forehead.
So romantic.
Yeah, it was so anyway, then, but this is the part I didn't put in because it seemed too unbelievable.
Okay.
She's writing the notes down of like all my symptoms, like I'm nauseous, I'm throwing up, I got, drainage, all this stuff. And she goes, any other symptoms? And I said, yeah, I'm hearing voices, but it's like like an old TV show remade as a movie. Because they were playing the Addams Family movie above that. And she writes that down. Like, she doesn't even get that I'm like, it's blaring right over us. Yeah. And, that whole thing was what an experience. And here's the other crazy thing. I forgot that was you. Like, that was your show.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to ask. So I walked out of there. And nobody charged me, and of course, there was construction crews and like it was chaos, and people were driving up and just dumping sick people out, and like it was very third world country. And
that was so 20 years ago. I was like, no, that was like 2002, maybe 2001.
Yeah, I think it was. I thought it was 2000. It might be 2001.
Actually, it may have been 2000. So we're looking like 25 years ago.
Yeah, because I started in 96.
Okay.
So, no, I was living in Nashville. So it was either 99 or 2000.
Okay, so that's okay. That makes sense because I think it was 2000. I'm pretty sure it was 2000.
So
then.
I went to the, what I was guessing the checkout desk was. And I was like, I'm going to check out. And she was like, okay, all right, you're checked out. And I was like, okay. And they never charged me. I never got a bill. Like, and when I got there, I gave them my name and my driver's license, but I didn't give them insurance. I didn't give them anything. And so I think they just, that's why they couldn't afford a fourth wall.
Bro, that you walked out, that you got out of there alive.
Yeah.
Is
maybe that's why they didn't know how to charge me because they've never had somebody walk out alive before. So this was a new.
It could be very well. That could be a thing.
Yeah. We won't charge you. Just go tell other people that you made it.
Yeah. That gives
the advertisement.
Oh, it was. Holy cow! So yeah, that was the first event we ever put together, and then we did a couple of other things together. Where you came and did, like, we played and you did the stand-up stuff. We did, I think, that like 3 times total over this 25 years experience. And
yeah.
You were like one of my first guests on the podcast back before I even had video. Like I just did audio. Hey, Merry Christmas, my friends. Out on Highway 75, where the road meets home, there's a place that's always open for you this Christmas. Copan Truckstop and Restaurant, your friendly, family-owned stop in Copan, Oklahoma. Whether you're a trucker on a long haul or a family traveling for the holidays or just craving a hot meal, we've got you covered. Come check out breakfast served all day, specials starting at $5.89, our famous prime rib every Friday and Saturday night. Come in for a hearty comfort meal, homemade pies, and down-home hospitality. It feels like family. Fill up your gas tank, grab a snack, and just sit back and enjoy the season. Copan Truck Stop and Restaurant, 7440 US Highway 75 in Copan, Oklahoma, right on Highway 75, just north of Bartlesville. Give us a call, 918-532-4666. Copan Restaurant and Truck Stop. Hey, my friend, are you looking for the ultimate stocking stuffer for the cigar lover in your life? Well, look no further than Ash Cigar Company here in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Step into our cozy walk-in humidor and discover the perfect cigar for every cigar lover on your list. Stop by 117 Northeast DeBell Avenue in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, or you can give us a call at 918-578-9186 or stop by ashcigar.com. Make this Christmas an unforgettable one for the cigar lover in your life. Come see why Bartlesville's finest cigar lounge is the place to be this holiday season. Ash Cigar Company. This Christmas, as families gather around the tree, lights twinkling and hearts full of gratitude, many are thinking about the future that they want for their loved ones. At Revo Financial, we understand that true wealth isn't just about money. It's about building a legacy that honors your faith and your family. That's why we offer values-based financial planning, retirement strategies, and investments aligned with Christian principles, so that you can give generously, protect what means most, and rest easy knowing that your finances reflect your beliefs. This holiday, let Revo Financial help you put your money where your values are. Visit us at 117 West 5th Street, Suite 402 in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, or give us a call, 918-336-7877, or check out revofinancial.com.
Advisory services offered through Revo Financial, a registered investment advisor of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Revo Financial only transacts business in states where it's properly notice filed or exempt from such requirements. SEC registration does not constitute an endorsement of the firm by the SEC, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability.
How did you, what got you into, what made you want to get into stand-up?
Well, I was always, labeled the funny guy. I was always the funny kid at school. Yep. My dad was a superintendent at my school, and my dad was hilarious, is hilarious. He's finally slowing down where I can get a word in during dinner, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, I kind of came from my dad, and his friends were just always very quick-witted and funny. And but I didn't want a life of. I loved watching comedians, but I didn't want a life in bars and all that, kind of lifestyle. So I never thought comedy was an option. So I got my degree in elementary ed and was going to be a teacher and kind of follow my dad's footsteps and be a principal and then a superintendent. But I did a stand-up competition my junior year in college, and I did it strictly for the money. It was $500, and this was in Abilene, Texas.
Big money. That's big money,
dude. In Abilene, that's still like 6 months rent. It was a lot of money. And so I did this competition, and I won. Not even because I was good. Everybody else was terrible. They were just so bad. And I thought, I just had a great experience. I won a stand-up competition. Mm-hmm. I'll be able to tell my grandkids. Like, I was pretty proud of it, but never thought it'd be a career. And then this guy, he was the boyfriend of this girl who was roommates with the girl I was dating. So I kind of knew him. He went out to Nashville to get in the music industry, and he ended up road managing a guy named Clay Cross. And Clay decided they were having a pre-tour meeting, and Clay was like, it'd be fun to have a comedian, kind of MC and keep the crowd entertained. And this guy was like, I think I know the perfect guy. And so he tracked me down. He actually, this is how long ago it was. I was driving on 635 in Dallas, Texas, and my pager went off. And everything about this sentence is going to be so old. My pager goes off. I pull over at a Cracker Barrel payphone, and I call this number, put my quarters in, and I love that kids are probably having to look up quarters.
Yeah, they're like, what the heck
is a quarter?
What are you all talking about? Like,
yeah.
We're that old, kids. Back in my day.
So I called this number, which turned out to be Nashville, and he was like, hey, we're leaving for tour in 2 weeks, and I think it'd be great. We don't have money, to pay you as a comedian. But if you'll do merch, we can pay you as a merch guy. And do you want to do it? And I remember being so flippant, like, they're going to fire me in a week.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get on a tour bus. I wanted to see what a tour bus was
100%,
like.
yes.
And so I was standing at Cracker Barrel payphone, and I was like, yeah, sure. So I booked it was $99 one-way ticket to Nashville, Tennessee. And I did one way because the tour was 6 weeks, but it was probably going to extend to do 8 weeks because Clay had just won New Artist of the Year at the Dove Awards. And so they were expecting the tour to be big, and it turned out to be really great. So I booked a one-way ticket, got off a plane, got on a tour bus, and went out as a comedian. And I'd done stand-up twice in my entire life. I'd done that one stand-up competition, and then my fraternity, they had a Christmas banquet, and for you and your date to go, it was $60, which is insane.
Yeah, that's big money.
So I went to the guys and I was like, hey, if I do stand up, can I go for free? And they were like, yeah, if you'll do stand up at the banquet. So I did stand up then too. So those are the only 2 times I'd ever done stand up. And, no, that's not true. Actually, I did it 3 times. I had started hanging out with this girl, and her mom, this part's really sad, but her mom had cancer, and her mom passed away. So we all, a group of, she was at college with several of her friends that she went to high school with. And so we all went to her youth leader's house. We went to the funeral, and then after the funeral, we all met at her youth leader's house, and all the youth group kids and all her, high school friends and stuff came over, and we're sitting. We weren't in the living room. I was in the kitchen or something, and the youth leader comes over and he goes, "All right, we've got everybody gathered in. I'm just going to make a short speech, and then if you can just do like 10 minutes." And I go, "Do what?" And he was like, "Do some stand up. I think we really need some some comedy." And I was like,
"This is at a funeral?"
It was the after party. It was after the funeral. And I was like,
I know it's not funny, but it's funny.
Oh, it was. But here's the thing. I think I'd done that stand-up competition.
Yeah.
But maybe not, now that I'm thinking about it, because my timelines are always like messed up. But I wasn't doing stand-up. And he was like, yeah, just do like 10 minutes. And I was like, I don't do stand-up. And he's like, no. J-Man Kara told me you're hilarious, like, and that you're going to do stand-up. And so he just walked in and introduced me. And so I had to get up and just start doing stuff about, and thankfully it was the town called Merkel, and it, so I could do some jokes on it and stuff like that. But it was just, so I guess I'd done stand up 3 times but all through my life, not to get super spiritual, but I felt like God put people in my life
100%.
to kind of prepare my mindset of that maybe this is what I was cut out with. Because I remember our first week at college, this kid who I did not know, and it was the first week of college, and they called it Welcome Week, and you're doing all these activities and stuff. This kid comes up to me, and he goes, hey, you should do a bit about hotel soap being small. And I was like, what do you mean do a bit? He goes, like in your stand-up stuff, you should do something about, because the hotel soap is, and I go, I don't do stand-up. And he goes, no, but you will. Like when you do it, that would be a good. So I didn't know this kid at all, and I didn't know how he knew me. Now I'd already kind of established myself as, a funny guy on campus.
Sure. Yep.
But that happened one time. I'm out fishing like at 2 a.m. With this other guy in college. I think I was like a sophomore or junior or something. And we're fishing. We're on this dock, and we're just, we're fishing for catfish. So we have our poles set out.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, Smiley, yeah, I don't think anybody else kind of gets what we're doing. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, like we don't want a 9-to-5 job. Like, and at the time he was trying to be a singer, and he had a great voice. So he was getting offers from operas. Mm-hmm. So he was, even though he was kind of more of a rocker, he realized he could do opera and probably make really good money.
Pay the bills,
like,
man.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to go into music. You're going to go into comedy. And I was like, no, I'm going to be a teacher. Like, I'm not.
Like, you're so funny.
Yeah. But I look back on that kind of stuff, and I was like, I wonder if God put those people in my life just to kind of prepare me, so that when God presented this opportunity for me to get into it, I would think, well, maybe I can do that. So I flew out to Nashville and got on a tour bus and went out as a comedian. And, and Clay had these new moving lights that kept breaking. And so anytime they would break, send up the circus monkey to entertain people. Hey, waka, 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 And so that was kind of my open mic experience was, so I learned, like, when the tour bus is rolling into town, I need to start looking to see, okay, they got a Dollar General, they got a Walmart, what can I make jokes about and stuff like that. And it was churches, mostly churches. And, I've been a Christian all my life, so I wasn't going to do dirty material.
Sure. Yeah.
But also I had to learn where that line was. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember we were playing Winona Lake. I don't even know what state that's in, but I remember it was Winona Lake. And
I gotta Google that and find out.
Yeah. See if you can find out, and it was, 900 people, and the moving lights broke like they did all the time.
Yeah.
And I'd already done all the material that I'd written. I'd done a lot of ad-lib stuff, crowd work and stuff. And I said, and this was back when the Judds were really popular.
Yeah.
And Winona Judd had gained a ton of weight that year.
Yep.
And so I said, hey, why do they call it Winona Lake? Is it because it's a really big lake? And which is not even a great joke, but at the time, all the news people were reporting on how much weight Winona had. Sure. But it just bombed, just solid, like nobody laughed at and I start flop sweating, and I'm like, oh. So there's a difference between a joke that you would tell with your buddies, like at fishing at 2 a.m. in the morning, and what you would say on stage. Like, you had to find out what's offensive, what's not, and all that. Yeah. So everything was a learning experience. But yeah, that's how I got into it.
That's
so
awesome.
I did the Clay Cross tour. Mm-hmm. The Newsboys saw me. They asked me to tour with them the next year.
Holy smoke.
I did the Newsboy. I grew up in a town with 281 people in it. Yeah. So I had 17 in my graduating class. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little farm boy, and then all of a sudden I'm standing in front of 4,000 and 5,000 people a night. Jeez. Doing stand up, which was never my plan or, what I was working toward. And so, there were some of those nights were just so surreal, where I remember walking out in Houston, where I live now, walking out in Houston, and it was like 6,000 people, and I'm walking out, and the speaker had not shown up. He was late. He was running late. And so it was Josh McDowell, and they were like, hey, can you stretch? And so I ended up doing like 30 minutes for that many people. And I remember just walking out going, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Like, why am I here?
Holy cow. What a story. Like, I did not realize it was that, like, you weren't even really trying.
No. Some
So
would say I'm still not trying, but but enough about my dad.
Like, hey, Dad, it's
Yeah,
paying the bills now. So shh.
my dad, because he's funny, he still tells people when people ask like, "What does your son do?" He goes, he sells T-shirts, which is true. I sell T-shirts at
True.
my shows,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And now you have a book. Is that right? I hear
I have
you got
4 books.
4 books.
I guess you can't see them now, but yeah, they're back there.
Is that where
I
you
have, yeah,
is that where you hold all your merch?
that's all my merch.
Look
You can
at
see
you.
all my T-shirts and other stuff. But yeah, I started writing. So when my first CD came out, okay, kids, here's some more old person speak. So when my first CD came out, Focus on the Family got it. And at the time I was doing mostly youth stuff. So all my material was geared toward like youth groups and stuff. And so Jesse, who now is my longtime editor, and we do the Average Boy podcast together.
Yeah.
He contacted me and he's like, "Hey, we just got your CD and we think it translates well for young kids. We have a magazine called Clubhouse Magazine for middle school kids. Would you be interested in writing a humor article? It's a back to school issue, even though I never thought I would end up doing comedy, when I was a kid, I would devour books. Like it was I would read all the time. I always had a book in my hand, and I loved 2 people's writings. I loved Dave Barry, who wrote humor articles, and it was just about absurd things, that happen in life and stuff, but really funny articles. And then I read this book series through his name was Patrick F. McManus, and he wrote hunting stories and stories about him growing up and stuff like that. And so even though I never thought I could do stand up, one of my bucket list things was I wanted to have a humor article published in a magazine. That was like a goal of mine. And so all of a sudden, it was like God handed me that as well. And so I wrote this story about me going back to school and getting a horrible haircut the day before. But as I was writing the article, I thought of like a cell phone joke. And so obviously it couldn't be me. I couldn't make it about me if I wanted to include the cell phone joke. So I made it a modern day version of me. And so I just called the kid Average Boy because he was just average at everything he was trying to do,
Right,
even though he really wanted to be a superhero. And so it was supposed to be one article. It was published. I still, have it somewhere. And I was like, I did it. I did my goal. And then kids started writing into Clubhouse Magazine or Focus on the Family and saying, "Hey, can Average Boy write more articles?" And so then it turned into a column. And then we thought, well, let's try a devotion book. So it's each chapter's funny stories, but then there's devotion questions at the end of each chapter. And so we put that book out. It did well. We did a second devotion book, and it did really well. And then 4 years ago, I think, we decided to do a chapter book. So it's like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, only way better. And
yes,
and so
100%.
So it's all about Average Boy going to a new school, but he deals with some bullies. So there's a lot of like biblical and encouragement takeaways in the book, even though it's just a comedy book. And we put that out, and it hit #1 on Amazon in its category, in the young adult literature category. Awesome. And so, yeah, it exploded. So then we did a follow-up. So that was Average Boys Above Average Year. We did Average Boys Above Average Summer, which came out 6 months ago, I think. Yeah. And it hit #1 again on Amazon for like 4 weeks straight. And I love that I had this little side business going on for a while. And then all of a sudden now, I did 5 shows last week, and at every single show, parents were bringing their kids because they either read the Average Boy books or we do an Average Boy podcast. And I do the voice of Average Boy on the podcast. And then Jesse, my editor, is the adult, that tries to keep Average Boy on track. But yeah, so I have a junior high voice, so it's finally paying off. In fact, when we first started to record the first Average Way podcast, and it's free wherever anybody can get podcasts, and we really did it so that parents could listen to with their kids.
Yeah.
And we try to do it like because I grew up loving the Muppets and Looney Tunes,
Yep.
and they're comedy for kids, but they're also funny for adults.
Yep, 100%.
So we try to do the podcast for that. But the first time we were recording, Average Boy's supposed to be a middle school kid.
Yeah.
So I was going to do his voice way up high like this. And so I started to do that. And the producer was like, no, Bob, you can use your real voice. And I was like, no, he's supposed to be a junior high kid. And he goes, yeah, we're good. Rolling. And I was like, okay.
Like,
okay, message received.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Well, I'd seen something on Instagram. You put a reel out, or maybe it was a story where there was an event you got to do, and it was like a Christmas giveaway thing. You're like, oh, here, I'm going to give, you could use one of my books, and they're like giving away 75-inch TVs and trips to ski trips, and they're like, oh, and by the way, here's a book from Bob Smiley.
Here's a book you've probably never heard of. And the winner is 78-year-old Dolores, so it was. You're like, yeah, it literally. So sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
75-inch TV book.
You'd think he would have warned me. And I was just doing it I was setting up, and I go, and he was going over the show. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, we're going to do these giveaways. And I thought, oh, well, I'll donate some books, just to be nice.
Sure.
That would have been the perfect time to say, well, our giveaways are pretty good. So it was literally, and it really was. The first one was a $200 gift card. Second one was a $300 gift card. The third gift, book. It was
oh my gosh, that's so that's sort of that's one way to hawk some merch, bro. Just say, hey, listen, if you didn't get a hold of this book in the giveaway, you can go pick one up.
You know why I loved that moment, even though it was like super embarrassing and I really did feel bad, was halfway through my show, I just stopped, and it was a very charismatic church.
Yeah.
Very spirit filled. And I go, hang on, the Lord is talking to me, and he's telling me that I know times are tough right now with the Christmas holidays and stuff. So if anybody can pick one item from my table, and I will exchange it for a 75-inch TV. And then I turned and looked right at the lady who had won the TV, and she was like, nope. So, but I just love those. I love any kind of moment in comedy where people can tell that we're all, this is new, this is different, this is not my, canned show or anything like that. And it was
they feel more authentic. Those are fun. I love those kind of things where it's not scripted. It's not, you don't have a plan. Maybe it's my ADD that I'm riddled with, but I love those kind of things. They're just great. So, so if folks are interested in maybe booking you to be a part of an event that you do, because you sounds like, you're willing to play anywhere. So
I'll still do a junior high lock-in at 4 a.m. right after the shaving cream fight. So yes, I'm available.
They still do lock-ins? Like, whoever invented lock-ins I just feel like they're evil. Like, lock-ins are not cool. Like,
and I've done
thinking they were awesome. Listen, our band used to play lock-ins, and the worst lock-in was this one where all the kids had to crawl in the dark, like military style, and we were the surprise thing for them.
Oh yeah.
Which was wild because they got excited because they had full production, the whole 9 yards. So we're all standing on stage. It's in Oklahoma City. We're standing on stage, and these kids crawl in like military style. They made them all do. There's like 100 kids crawling in military style. And the lights come on, and we started our first, I think we started with a cover from President's of the United States of America.
Oh, okay.
And so, that's how we started. And the kids jumped up, and they were like, yeah. And then I was like, this is such a weird deal. It was like 3 a.m. It was so bizarre. So, no, I've been there, done that, got that T-shirt. That's not a...
there was a college, and they they do a big night, and the college kids don't know what it is all involved, and they get on a bus, and so they go to all these different activities.
Yep.
So the first one was a bowling alley. Second one was the laser tag.
Yep.
Stuff, and then the third event was going to be me. And so the lady who was bringing me in, she was like, she had created a character for me to play on the bus, and I was going to be her cousin. And she wrote backstory for where I was from and what job I had and why I was there that night and all this stuff. And I was like, I didn't say this, but I was like, I don't want to do this, but $100 is $100. And so I was like, that's not true. She was actually paying me really well, but I was like, I'm going to do it, but I didn't want to do it. I thought it was a dumb thing. And as soon as we walked on the bus, this one college kid goes, "Oh my gosh, Bob Smiley. Oh, we're going to have a comedy show." And so then I didn't have to pretend to be her cousin for the whole night until we got to the comedy show. So I was very grateful for that. But yeah, everybody has all these weird ideas of how about you dress as a waiter and then you walk up and hand the speaker a glass of water and then just take over. And I'm like, how about I just do what I'm good at? And let me do my show.
Yeah, everybody's an influencer and a creator or something, whatever. Yeah. So wild. So, all right, people are interested in booking you for a show. How do they find you?
Yeah, bobsmiley.com, which I think is still your homepage.
Yeah.
Caleb, right?
It's still, if you go there. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I'm on Instagram, Facebook. If your listeners are sinners, I am on TikTok. So you can check me out there.
There's a few. I mean, I'm on there too. So yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get on TikTok for the longest time because I thought it was a very vile, because it's just what I'd heard, that it was all,
OnlyFans type thing. Yeah.
OnlyFans, naked ladies and stuff. Mm-hmm. And but I finally I talked to a couple of my comedian friends and they were like, yeah, I think it's a lot of people are on it. I'm putting clips on it. So I got on it, and the very first thing I ever saw on TikTok is, as soon as I have to put in I'm a male and my age, 37, and and the very first video that pops up is a girl jumping on a trampoline, and I'm like, this is exactly why I don't need to be on this app. And she jumped up and down like 3 times, and then all of a sudden it cuts to Jesus looking in, going, "What are you looking at there, fella?" And I was like, "Oh, this is what I want." I want accountability of like.
That's
and
it.
Then I started flipping through, and I found this guy, and he has an account called Ask Jeremiah. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't know if he's still doing it.
Yeah.
But it's just this young dude walking down the street, and he's answering questions about the Bible that people had already sent in. But if God is an all-powerful God, why does bad things happen to good people? And like a lot of generic, questions that we all get as believers.
Sure.
And he just answers them, and it's so powerful. So all of a sudden I was like, some of my best sermons that I've heard have been like, a minute and a half TikTok video.
Yeah.
So I am glad I got on there, but I do like to make the joke, if you're a sinner.
Still good.
That's what I thought about.
That's awesome, bro. Well, I appreciate you taking time just to talk to us and share what you're doing. And man, it's been a fun ride being your friend over the last 25 years, man. So
yeah, man. Sorry I didn't hit you up when I was there last week, but I literally was there for I think 18 hours. Like I was landing, doing the show, and then flying right back out.
Dude, I know you saw it and you're like, Oklahoma, definitely not going to talk to Caleb.
Yeah, no.
No. I get it.
I wasn't hungry for Denny's, and I know that
that Denny's closed, by the way. It's now a Mexican restaurant. So
oh, good. So they got my email.
You got fajitas. Good. Yeah, you got fajitas now. So it's actually pretty good. So, well, thanks, brother, for coming on the show. I appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Always fun to talk to you.
Yes, sir.